All right, joining us now, the great Craig Bolerjack, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Bowler, how are you?
Scotty G, I'm well. I'm glad you called. I need to talk sports, man. It's been a month. I mean, come on, withdrawal.
Yeah,
I'm trying. Withdrawal. The train stopped, kicked us all off, and then boom, on it goes. And so you just kind of roll off there with your piece of luggage, and they say, we'll see you in October, kind of the way it is. Then I have to get ready to repack and then figure out how to get back on the train. So
yeah, well, it's interesting because that's the one thing that really, well, I mean, there were a lot of things that surprised me about doing the play-by-play thing at a collegiate level, and you deal with it a lot more at the NBA level, is you go, and then all of a sudden it's like you're going 80 miles an hour in a Porsche, and then all of a sudden you hit this brick wall and it just comes to a complete stop, and you're like, and you expect that momentum to keep going, and then it's like, no, I don't have a game to prepare for, or no, I don't have a flight to book, or no, I don't have that, and it's a weird vibe.
Scotty, what it is the Porsche to a 74 yellow Volkswagen with no reverse linkage that I had in college. I mean, that's what it is. That's
exactly.
What it is. I got to push myself out of a parking spot. That's kind of the way I am. But no, it's good to talk to you, man. Pretty good. I'm digging. I'm enjoying postseason basketball. To be honest with you, I don't know what you're seeing, but I think some good storylines up and down and sideways. Denver, I thought, was toast, and then you know what? Champions find a way, and to win 2 in Minnesota after losing 2 at home is remarkable to me. And now, if Rudy Gobert doesn't go off the rails, maybe it'll continue to be a good series. But we'll wait and see.
So let's look at this overall. You've got 3 out of your 4 series all tied up at 2 games apiece, and you're seeing some really fun basketball. But you bring up Denver, and I never really felt like Denver was out of it. Although when Minnesota goes up 2-0 and they have the next 2 games at home, you think all they've got to do is just win one of those games. If they go back to Denver up 3-1, then they're in good shape. But you're right. Denver rights the ship. They do their thing. Now it's 2-2. And here's my bold prediction, Bowler. Yeah. I don't think Minnesota wins another game in this series. I think Denver's going to reel off 4 in a row and win this in 6.
I can't argue that after kind of the body language, what I saw last night. Rudy got fined today. What was it?
75.
Yeah. And, I was sitting there watching. Did anybody just see what I saw? And obviously the league sees everything. But after the call, and he had really a tough time at the free throw line in critical seconds down the stretch. And, of course, this has kind of followed Rudy throughout his career, clutch minutes, right, clutch time. And he rubbed his fingers together like we used to for fun when Memo made a three-point shot, and he'd kind of blow on his fingers. That was just for him kind of having a good time knocking down a triple. But the call goes against Gobert. He rubs his fingers together, and I go, oh, man, the league had to have seen that. And sure enough, they did. I tell you, Rudy, much beloved. There's always going to be a debate, Donovan Gobert, right? Always. What caused the breakup? But Rudy's a talent, but semi one-dimensional. But also, how do you perform in those clutch minutes? And I thought, gosh, man, don't do this to your team. And boom, there you go. So the attitude I saw on the floor last night, Mike Conley may have to be the guy to right the ship. I mean, he's the teammate of the year. I mean, he's the class of the class. Jazz fans know that. We know it. Talking to Mike, I mean, there's not a better professional out there. And if he's needed more now than ever, I mean, if they're going to try, and Ant is going to have to play, pretty much as high level as he can get. But it's been an interesting series for sure, as is OKC Dallas tied too. I mean, you got a couple of stars in Luka and Gilgeous Alexander. I thought really Dallas may surprise some folks with the addition of Gafford in Washington before the trade deadline, Scotty. But Luka looks a little beat up. I think it proves that one superstar just can't carry you to the finish line. You got to have help, and plus, I think he's been beat up a little bit.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's a good actor. Maybe a combo of both.
Well, I think there's a little bit of milking going on there for sure, but I also think he is beat up pretty good, and Kyrie's doing his best to help out. And Kyrie's actually been kind of a model citizen. As weird as he can be and as difficult as he can be sometimes, it does seem like he's kind of settled in a little bit and has had a nice role on that team, which has certainly been beneficial. If Dallas wants to hang in this series with Luka dealing with that injury, Kyrie's going to have to step up big time.
Totally agree. And I'm with you on the fact that he's adjusted. I didn't think, maybe I'm a pessimist because you look at the history of a player and the issues that follow them and how they are able to jump out from one team to another. And I thought, I'm not sure there's enough touches. I'm not sure there's enough shots. But to his credit, I got to be honest, man, playing alongside Luka, he seems to say, I get it. You know, if I'm going to win a championship, it's got to be Doncic and Kyrie working in tandem. And, you know, I thought most of the year they were pretty dynamic together. They adjusted, I thought, better than anyone expected.
Yeah.
And now I think he has to take a little stronger role, in my opinion. You know, you're going to get fatigued. You're going to get nicked up. And you're going to have someone else help you along the finish line. And so this is a good series. And then you jump to the East, man. I tell you, I thought the Cavs were going to maybe walk over Boston. I mean, Donovan Mitchell, I mean, every time I watch those games, the camera is on every single shot of his reaction or on the bench. He has the calf. He didn't play. So they're up. Celtics are up 3-1. But he's had a dynamic playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
And Jazz fans, I know, I read Twitter on occasion, not as much as I used to.
Probably for the best.
Season. Yeah, it is. It's just it's kind of like I have to hit a little, you know what I mean? A little release valve.
A little hiatus, yeah.
He's been dynamic, and Tatum and Jaylen Brown are just incredible as well. And if they get Porzingis back, man, it's going to be an interesting run. And I just was looking before I came on for going back to Boston. Do you know what I've looked for the last 20 minutes? I can't see what Donovan's status is for Game 5.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's out there yet.
It's not out there yet. I'm sure it'll be listed as questionable, and they'll make an announcement on game day. But I was, considering what was it? The game one, was it against Memphis where they held him out and he threw the fit and got really angry about it?
Right.
I said yesterday on there, like, there's no way he misses that game. There's no way he doesn't play.
No.
So
I thought it was.
It must be pretty serious.
Well, I thought they played at the highest level they could. I mean, without him, obviously. But I just looked at the line of the betting line. Boston's a 15.5-point favorite. I had to do a double take, not 5. But a 15.5-point favorite. So maybe they know something we don't. And maybe they know something because LeBron was at the game.
Well,
I thought that was quite intriguing too, pal.
And Hoops Hype now reporting that Donovan Mitchell and a trade for Donovan Mitchell is now becoming a high priority for the Lakers in the offseason as well. So you can tell.
Look, here's the deal. And it's all just, fantasy at the moment, but there may be a lot of realism to this too. LeBron does what he wants, and we all know that. For 20 years. If he wants Bronny in Cleveland and wants to go on his farewell tour with his son, then guess what? LeBron makes it work. Donovan still wants to be in New York. I know that for a fact. But Lakers would be the next stop on his journey. And it would be quite intriguing to see how he fits in with whatever else they do in the off season. But can you imagine finishing your career, starting and finishing your career, and then having to, as he's always wanted, he stated this from the get-go, here's a guard that I think they measured him out yesterday at 6'1" and a quarter, okay, Bronny James.
Yeah.
And he averaged 5 points in his short collegiate career. But LeBron can do incredible things, and he can force a lot of things to happen. So if he wants to play and finish in Cleveland, maybe the Lakers say, you know what, we're giving up a 40-year-old for a 26-year-old kid who is dynamic and is going to fit the Laker, persona as good as anyone I know, right?
Interesting.
I mean, it'll be interesting to follow this story because that may be the big blockbuster of the summer.
Yeah, there's no doubt. The offseason is going to be fascinating, and in particular with the Utah Jazz, because, in normal Utah Jazz bad luck fashion, they go from picking 8 and have Quinn Snyder and the Hawks and another team leapfrog him, pushing them back to 10. Although in this draft, I don't think that kills you that much, but still, it is a little bit of a kick to the nether regions to see that happening on that lottery.
And even Big T couldn't switch it. You know, I thought if anybody, I thought Big T representing the Jazz, the 7th pick in '83, would go out there and maybe we jump from 8 to 7. You know. But it didn't work out that way, and he was pretty bummed talking to him. You know, Scotty, I tell you, you make a great point. I don't think this draft at number 10, Danny's panicking because I don't think, and everything you read, and look, there's going to be a player or two that's going to prove the critics wrong, right? There's always a mid first round pick. A late, like Gobert at 27. You get a second rounder like in Jokic, who's now a 3-time MVP. There's always an outlier that surprises everyone. And if the Jazz get lucky, they did it with Stockton and Malone, man. Mid first-round picks, right? And look what they became, Hall of Famers. So you never can say never, but most of the draft so-called experts say there's really no franchise-changing player for the Jazz at 10. Now, here's the other part of it. Is there a franchise-changing player at 5? Would Danny, use one of his 15 or two of his 15 first-round picks? Does he want to jump? Does he see someone that we don't know about overseas, wherever it may be, or, a sleeper in the combine to try to move his way up, or does he wait? He did say he was going to, take a swing right this summer in the press conference that we had. And I think that kind of gave Jazz fans a glitter of hope. But, you don't want to waste picks unless, honestly, there's someone that is really going to fit the system. And, you can look all you want and think, well, that maybe, and then, well, I'm not sure. And then you have to look about who you have, and Sensabaugh and Keontae and Lofton Jr. turned some heads, right, in the final, 5 games of the season with Hendricks and Darius Baisley. That's kind of your young core. How young do you want to be, Scotty? That's the question, and I don't have the answer of what Danny really and Justin Zanuck are thinking. Do you re-sign Markkanen? You have the cap space to do it, but is he patient enough to go through this process? And I think with hockey coming to town, there may be even a little bit more pressure, just my opinion, that you've got a competitor now, in a way, of fans, their eyes, their money, their tickets, and trying to see which one is most intriguing. And, sometimes it leans right and leans left, and, whoever's the hot team kind of gets the fan base to roll in. So it's interesting that Ryan, to his credit, man, bold move to get NHL hockey here, and they're going to be playing in 6 months or so, even though we're in the, the cup, the playoffs. Man, it turns quickly, as we all know.
Yeah.
The draft is coming up in, looking at my calendar, 5.5 weeks or so, something like that. I mean, it's remarkable. Man, you said it. It's going to be an incredible summer, a lot of stories. And you know what? Let me just say this. Justin Zanuck made a comment to the media, and he made a comment to me. And it's out there, so nothing that no one knows, but chaos. And that was one of the words that used as saying if there's chaos in the NBA, that would only benefit the Jazz. And what that means is the Lakers out, Clippers out, right?
Yeah.
Phoenix out.
Golden State.
Philly out. That's chaos, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of teams that have to rethink where they're going. Are they going to make bold moves, maybe knee-jerk moves that the Jazz jump in on? I mean, that's what intrigues me the most about this summer is actually trades, who would become available for what price. And the Jazz can be players because of the cap space and the picks they have in their pocket that they could use.
Craig Bolerjack joining us here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Have you ever called a hockey game before?
You know what? I called indoor soccer. It's the closest thing I can come to. I did the Wichita Wings.
Wow. There you go.
Loved indoor soccer. Loved it. Off the board, you could play on a hockey arena with the boards up. There's no side panels and stuff and any glass, but you have the boards down below, and you can use that board as a teammate basically to pass it back to yourself. But fast, furious, Scotty. You got to have 20/10 vision. if that's possible. I'm not even sure if it is 2020.
Yeah.
Can you go 2010? Because that puck moves as a blink of an eye. And then the other thing is, I've worked years to Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, all these names. But you're going to have to fire off 5 or 6 of the Slavic names, Czech names, Russian hockey players. There's not a lot of Smiths out there.
No.
Playing hockey. So, but no, I'm fascinated. I think that hockey announcers are the elite. I really do believe that. Look, there's great announcers in every sport, but hockey I think is special, and the eye to puck ability is so important. But man, what a fun! I can't wait. On off days, and my biggest concern is that I know this: when we're gone, they're playing. When we're home, they're gone. So that's just the way it's going to work. But maybe once or twice this year, the schedule will work that I can jump into the arena and watch some professional, high-level NHL hockey. They're coming up with the need to improve. And you know what? I think from what I gather, this move may be a real energy boost for them. And kind of a new era, a chance to grow a new era of hockey there.
Did you have a name favorite on that list? Was there one that jumped out to you?
You know what? I got several that work, man. For some reason, I'm thinking ice, so I think of freeze. I think of, I got to be honest. If anybody has listened all these years, when I'm on the road, Scotty.
Yeah.
What I do when I work is I watch History Channel, and so I watch war stuff, history stuff.
Yeah.
But then I get into, Bigfoot, and so the search for Sasquatch. So for some reason, I know fans go ahead and yell, honk your horn, whatever. Yeti intrigues me. But I don't know if it's going there. I got a couple friends that just say, make it the Utah Hockey Club, Utah HC. Make it simple. But then again, you don't really have a really cool logo to go. And I'm not sure who the mascot would be. I've heard a lot of people like, let's see what, the Outlaws.
Outlaws. Mammoth seems like it's getting a little momentum right now.
Would be pretty cool. You got Vernal just up north, where the dinosaur pit is, National Park. I don't know. What are you hearing? What's the lean on the street?
There is. I will say, if you just look at public opinion, it went Outlaws there for a while, and now it kind of shifted where a lot of people like Mammoth. But I like the way Ryan Smith's going about this and saying, you know what? I'm going to let you guys vote for it. It's your team.
Bracket, right?
Let's bracket this thing up and let you guys get after it. So it's going to be fascinating to say the least. Personally, I'm at a point in my age where I don't really care about that stuff. I just want to see some hockey coming up in the fall, and I'm fired up because I've been watching a ton of playoff hockey, and it is so much fun. I mean, it is, and no disrespect to the NBA, but there's a lot of anti-NBA to it. These dudes are playing through crazy injuries. There's no load management. There's no prima donnas. These dudes are just some of the toughest dudes on the planet.
Well, look, anybody who drops their gloves on the ice and if you get knocked in the chops, you're going to get a cut, right? Or you're going to lose a tooth or two.
Yeah.
How many? And there's no other sport that allows you, to drop gloves and actually go at it. And then the officials kind of just skate around waiting for someone to kind of take a fall. And then they jump in and say, okay, let's break this thing up. It's amazing to me. But you know what? It's part of the gladiator style of the sport. And that kind of does draw the fan base in because, I guess who doesn't like a little gloves off, night at the arena. But it's fascinating. And I tell you what, honestly, great athletes who can dance and walk and run on ice at 25 miles an hour. I don't know how fast they go, but man, they glide with beauty, strength. I'm not just sitting here doing a promo, but I've always been intrigued. Growing up in Kansas City, we had the Kansas City Scouts for just a blink of an eye. Never got a chance to really get into hockey. I love Stanley Cup playoff hockey, but with my schedule and the way the NHL and the NBA play, we're kind of back and forth, and sometimes I'll look at scores and see what's going on and see a couple of games on the road. But I'm excited to try to dive into it. I really am, and I know you are. I think it's going to be fun. What do you get? 25,000 fans already signing up for tickets.
Over 30 now.
Someone's going to have there's a waiting list, right? So that's a good thing for Ryan and Ashley Smith. Absolutely.
Bowler, you're the best, man. We appreciate you joining us on short notice, and let's do it again here soon as we get closer to the draft.
I just wanted to say, you and I on hockey skates. What do you think?
I think you'd be fine. I think that I've got a broken tailbone written all over me if I do that.
You know what? Just pad up. That's all you got to do, man. You'll never feel a thing.
Yep.
Yeah. All I know I could do is shoot and scores, and then you hear the horn. I'm going to be the guy that pushes down the horn when a goal's scored. There you go.
I love that horn, man. It's such an iconic sound. All right. Thanks, Bowler.
All right, Scotty. Hey. Play on tonight. A couple of good ones. So if you love the NBA, you're going to see some good action tonight.
Let's get it. That's the great Craig Bolerjack right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.